Welcome back to another edition of Smart. My name is Peter Mastriani. I'm the founder and the director of The Buyer's Guide. And The Buyer's Guide are the creators behind the Smart process, which is all about helping you to realize your home ownership dreams and really to secure your financial future. So there's 5 steps in the process. We are now at step 3, which is all about having an adventure. You know, you've got to get out into the market. You can't buy a home by hiding behind your mobile phone or PC and looking at realestate.com.au. It's a great search tool, don't get me wrong. There's some really helpful analytics that can help seal the deal for you. But, you know, to really maximize the opportunities that are available to you, you have to be really on the ground. You have to be pounding the pavement, you've got to be mixing things up. And plus, there's so many other free websites that you could be utilizing just outside of realestate.com as well. So we're going to talk about those today, and I'm going to show you how you can utilize those tools more effectively as well. Now, don't get me wrong, undertaking the appropriate desktop research is an absolute must. It'll have a huge impact and be a really good time saver in your process. And look, today I'm going to show you how in 5 minutes you can really pull up some relevant facts to determine whether a property is actually worth investigating further. This will be part of our Analyze and Assess section. Next, we're going to walk you through what to do when you're actually on the ground. You know, how to appraise a property properly. You know, what to look for, what questions should be asked, and so forth. Now, when you actually find a place and you feel that it's right, you know, what do you actually do then? What's the process that actually takes place? We'll also cover that off today to ensure that you're a little bit dangerous when you're negotiating and creating a viable offer. And to finish it off, we'll review by taking a look at some of the final factors to take into consideration and, you know, and how you can act on your instincts to secure and create your home ownership dreams and really secure your financial future. To analyze and assess is a really critical aspect and will only be truly beneficial if you've nailed what it is that you're actually looking for. The longer you remain undecided, the tougher the research becomes. If you've narrowed down your choice to, say, existing freestanding homes priced between 450 and 500k and X, Y, and Z suburbs, well, you're going to have a much better chance of becoming an area expert. The more places you see in your niche, both online and in a physical context, the better you'll be at spotting a winner. So what are the steps that you need to do in order to analyze and assess property? Okay, so whilst we've actually been active in the market, realistically, you will search and start your search online. There's no doubt about it. You'll jump onto realestate.com.au or Domain and you'll start typing in some addresses or seeing what's available within your price range. There's nothing wrong with that. But look, what we're going to do now is adding in a couple of steps to that process and looking at a couple of extra websites so we can help you build out a much better viewpoint of what the property is all about. Now, what I'm going to do over the next 5 minutes is show you a couple of websites and how to use these websites a little bit more effectively because they do have some good analytic functions to them and can give you a better idea of probably what the true value of that property is worth based on different statistics and demographics as well as comparable sales. So a lot of people will use realestate.com.au or domain.com.au and just use it as a search tool to check different properties. Look, if you do have a good idea of what your preferred property is, I would highly recommend that you set up some alerts, whether that be through Google Alerts or alerts through Real Estate or Domain, that you can get properties emailed to you as they become live on the stage. But look, enough of that for the time being. What we are going to concentrate on is looking and seeing if we can work out, you know, the true value of a home. Now, I don't want to be picking on anyone's homes, but we did need to get a home for an example. And I live around the Brisbane south side, and there's one property that I had driven by, and I thought it could be worth looking at realestate.com. It was for sale. So I'm going to look at this place now and see if we can do a bit of background digging to it. So I hope no one owns this house, but or has just purchased it. But let's see if we can break it down and do a little bit of digging to find out what would be the true cost of this price. Now, I know from previously looking at it, it was stated in the price range that it was looking for the high 500s, and now it's not currently for sale on realestate.com. It's sold on the 2nd of November, so 2 days ago. Well done for them. So they haven't released what the property has actually been sold for, but we do know that back in 2009, it did sell for $500,000. So 6 years later, they're looking to make somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000. Okay, that's fine. So it's 3 bedrooms. It's on a 600 odd square meter block. Let's see what else has been sold in the local area more recently. There's this 1031 Gosford Street that sold very recently, the 19th of September, so about 6 weeks ago for $610. What else have we got? Let's have a look at this one at Gosford Street. Let's see how it compares. Again, it pretty much looks like an average suburban home. There's some suburb views. Older style home. Nice wallpaper. Nice chairs as well. They're pretty funky. Yeah, it looks like a pretty average home, and that sold for $610 about 6 weeks or so ago now. Let's see how big the block was. Again, 607 square meters approximately. Okay, so we know that sold for $610, and we know they were asking, this Rockingham Street property was asking for the high 5s. So let's see what has sold nearby, perhaps more recently. So the neighbours' properties at Rockingham Street, number 11, estimated price is $550 to $690. That's a bit out there. Again, another average suburban home. Now it's sold for $63,000 the last time it was sold, so that there's a bit irrelevant for us. Let's have a look at number 15, Rockingham Street. Okay, another average suburban type home. Now we know, here we go, this is interesting. In January of this year, it sold for $538,000. That's interesting. The land size again, 607 square meters, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. That sounds very similar to the Rockingham Street property that is just being sold, and they wanted high 5s for that. So that's very interesting that we know that they're asking for another $60,000 more than the neighbour's house, and only 10 months has really passed since the last transaction. There we go, number 18. It's not a very good picture. Carport out the front there. And that sold back in 2008. Okay, so we've got one to compare, and that was the neighbour's house a few doors down, and that sold for about $60,000 less than what they're currently asking for this property now. And we don't know what the actual sales price was a few days ago. So let's see if we can pull up some analytics on Mount Gravatt as a suburb. So I've gone to the ABS government website, the census page, and I'm looking for data and analysis, and what I want is the latest results. So 2011 is quite a while ago now for, beg your pardon, 122 coastal area. Let's see what comes up in terms of the demographics for the Mount Gravatt area. So we've got about 40,000 people living in the region. Median age, people in their mid-30s. Quite a lot of families. Quite a lot of private dwellings as well. That's the majority of them. So male and females, about the same split. As you'll see from the age, you know, the majority of people are aged between their mid-20s, to mid-40s or so. And there's a bit of an aging demographic here as well for the suburb. Lots of married couples, a few divorced and never been married as well is quite high. Look, there's some good schools around here as well. Primary, secondary, there's Catholic, there's government schools. There's a few tertiary education facilities as well. So that could be worthwhile looking at, particularly if you're interested in purchasing this as an investor. You want to look at these demographics to ascertain the demand for your property as a rental. So look, majority of people are working full-time there, 8,000, 45%. Let's see how much they're earning now. This is back in 2011. So the majority of people are professional or clerical administrative type workers. What's the income? Here we go. So monthly mortgage repayments are around $2,000. Okay, so weekly rent for the property is $350. That's quite outdated. No, it's much higher than that. And weekly income is about $1,400 a week. Okay, so thanks, Mr. Statistics. Now let's see what SQM research comes up with here. Again, another property search tool. Rockingham Street, Mount Gravatt. There we go. Okay, so it wasn't disclosed the sale price in January 2010, but that's interesting. It looks like it sold 2009 and then in January 2010. Okay, that seems a bit strange, but there's some pictures, recent listings. Here we go. That's where it's September. So it was on the market for about 6 weeks. About 6 weeks. It was probably on the market there for the high 500s. As we'll see here, the majority of the cost per square meter maybe around about that $800 mark. Looking at all the dense housing sales that have happened. We're not really getting too much from SQM on this, but thanks for that. Let's see what Suburb View has. Again, another property search tool. The house isn't coming up. These are great tools and really valuable. The better one is realestate.com for the information that they give away for free. And it's worth doing that little bit of extra research. It only takes a couple of minutes. And just to give you an idea of what the housing has sold for. Okay, it doesn't look like it's giving us much here. Old listings. So we do know there's a 4-bedroom house that's in Macrovat. Sold for $660, 2010, 2010. Okay, this is pretty outdated information. We'll kill that. Okay, suburb view isn't really giving us a lot. So property investor, let's see what they can come up with here in terms of their overviews of what is worth looking at. Okay, so we've got the surrounding suburbs and we can see how their performance has gone. Wow, look at Mansfield here. That's had a stunning return over the past 12 months. It's up 34%. That's amazing. And that's in the units. Houses haven't performed that well though, 3%. It's amazing to see why units have shot up at that rate, maybe because of the price point at $375,000. That's really informative data. We can also see here Macrovat in the past year has performed 13%, which is exceptional. That's very good. That's very good. So we know that Rockingham Street, we do know that at the high fives it was probably priced quite well, considering that we did see that property that had sold in September for what was it, $535. So there's some room in that. I personally think they were probably asking for a bit too much in the high fives, but again, I'm only going off this one picture. But we know that now that there's been other house prices in that same street that's comparable. One that was actually recording in the low to mid 500s, and this property here, realistically, I think would probably be fair to say that it's gone maybe for somewhere around about 570 to 590 on the research that we've done. There was that one property again that was similar on a similar size block that had sold for 610. But look, I think it would be very fair to say that it would be somewhere between 550 and 600. And, you know, the fair value for that property is somewhere in between, being 575. But look, I think if you are interested in a property, whether it be Rockingham Street or any other street, you know, it took 5 minutes, but it's definitely worth doing a little bit further investigation prior to attending the open home on this property, just to give you a fairer idea of what's